action to some real other. And then when there is love and compassion as the motivation behind your action, then the other person's happiness is included. When that is absent, don't care. Like, you go on a bus or on a train and you want to see it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then there's other people also who also want to see it, but there's not enough seats for the people, for everybody. So okay, so you sit down and you find that this is a seat is free, you sit, and then maybe you need to go to the toilet and you put your bag on the seat to show that this is my seat, right? You go to the toilet, you come back, your bag is up there, and somebody else is sitting there. What do you say? I don't know if this is what they do in Switzerland. What do you do in this country?
We ask the person near to us to keep us the place.
Okay. Because in Switzerland, this is kind of a thing. Bag is not so good because then the bag, then you would ask the person take off your bag because but one puts a book or something personal so people see that this seat is taken. But in case I would come and see the thing and think, oh, nobody there, put it up, I sit down. The person in Switzerland will come and say, excuse me, this is my seat. I would say, oh, I'm really sorry, and get out. But it's so ridiculous. Why is this person's seat? I paid exactly the same price for the ticket. But in the mind, these conventions that we have, I have a right to have a seat. Why? Kacha. But kacha is not good enough. Just because it's me. I was here first. Well, I maybe was on that train yesterday and sat in this seat. Is that a good argument? When he says or she says, I was here first? This is how we kind of become very, very self-centered. So when we start to talk about karma, first we read the verse that goes with this, which is page 11. Hopefully, we will have the same text. So yesterday we did this life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativities and accomplish all virtuous deeds. So we need to know what is virtue, what is non-virtue. Yeah? We need to be aware, we need to be attentive, and not just follow the self-cherishing mind who says, yeah, but this is right, but really to understand how karma works. So we have a kind of very clear list of 10 negative actions which seems to be prefabricated, okay? But that's only at the beginning of the path, that you learn this in a very coarse way. Then once you have understood how karma works, and this is why now we go through it, and so don't ask questions, leave all your questions, even the ones in your mind, leave them aside until you know the whole list, because then you should be able to answer your own questions, okay? Just listen and look at, because it's all written here, what is the facts, how karma works. But then afterwards, it's not just the action. And this is what we are used to. Positive, negative is just the action. But it needs many more other things. It needs your mind state, the situation, the karma of the other person, and all this. So this is why it's so complicated. But when you see what is negative and what is positive, it's because when this action of killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, slander, harsh words, gossip, wrong you, covetousness, and harmful thoughts, when this is done to us, it creates sadness or suffering. And this is why deep down, our clear nature mind, or our conscience, not consciousness, but conscience knows, if I do it to somebody else, this is negative, And then the negative imprint is created. Even if intellectually you can book yourself a story that it's okay to do that now because I need to, deep down you know that it is not beneficial to the other person. So therefore I do it to somebody else. This, like a boomerang, will come back at one point. So knowing about the law of cause and effect and having some faith in it. So here you do need faith. It's as simple as that. But how do you create the faith? Is by seeing the things I can check and they are true. Why would that not be true? Why would the Buddha lie about this? People say, to control us. Well, why would somebody who lived like 2,500 years ago have an interest to control other people? You know? And why would the Buddha want to control people? He actually didn't even want to get up and go and teach. He attained enlightenment, he was sitting there, and he thought, this is too complicated for people to understand, they will just get more confused. But then two gods, Brahma and Indra, came and said, look, please, come and teach because the world needs it. Yeah? That's the story, that's how it goes. You know? I don't think the Buddha wanted big followers to become famous and all this. And also Buddhism will not necessarily make you famous. It will give you a peace of mind. It will not make you beautiful, it will not make you rich, it will not make you famous. It can, if the karma to have all these additional things be there, but that's not the purpose. The purpose for you is to be free. Free from the causes of suffering. That's what we talk about this afternoon. Finding firm and definite conviction of this, that black and white karma is called black and white. Skillful, unskillful, potentials follow. You see, our actions that we do now, they leave traces on our consciousness. That is the only thing we take with us. No possessions, no friends and family, no body. Yet most of what we invest in this life is in possessions, friends, families, and this body. And all of these we have to leave behind. Future happiness, we don't invest so well. So this is why also people think, oh, I don't want to think about karma because it feels like I'm calculating. Wow, if only people would calculate a bit more about their next life. Thinking that whatever have you been on a walk around here? Yeah, did you see there's a sign about this way there on a tree which says, whatever you sow, you will harvest. Whatever you plant, this is what you're going to get. This is exactly what it is. So if only we would start to see, what kind of flowers do I want to have in my garden? Do I want to have sadness flowers? Or do I want to have happiness flowers? Because you see, sad feelings, happy feelings, it's a ripening of our previous actions. Because you can be very happy about corruption when you are the one who is benefiting from it. And this whole thing about injustice, you see, we're very disturbed about injustice when we don't have to pay for the justice. Or when we actually benefit from the injustice, then we are not disturbed anymore. When we would have to give up on something to make the world more just, then we're not so agitated and sad about this anymore. You can still be sad and think, I wish I could give up what I'm attached to so that there's more justice in the world. But we don't. We're very disturbed by injustice when it's people in a category of people that we like, the victims, yeah, but we don't, and then the aggressors get treated in a really bad way. We don't say that's unjust. We're even happy and we say, wow, they deserve it. So when you know about the law of cause and effect, now you have to be really careful that you're not going to another extreme. The person who is the victim today has been the aggressor of yesterday. The aggressor of today becomes tomorrow's or the future's victim. So when you can see like this, you are able to have compassion for both. That's a very big step to make. For that you need to be very, very realized and really having firm conviction that nothing happens to us, to others, without having created the cause. That same mind stream. So if you want justice in this world, I mean, what better justice can you have than the law of cause and effect? But because we only see one lifetime, then we see it as unjust. And when I say about justice, if you really understand karma, you wouldn't go around and say, oh, they've done something negative in the past life, therefore they deserve it. That is a total misunderstanding of karma. You should, when you see somebody suffering, you're not going, they deserve it, then you have compassion for this person, knowing that they've created negative karma in the past out of confusion, and now this is the result. Nobody deserves to suffer. It's just a natural law. You see, if we, like for example, somebody goes on a bicycle and they fall down and they hurt themselves. Why are they hurting themselves? What's the first cause there? Going on a bicycle. So when you see it, you go and help. You're not saying, oh, you stupid thing, you don't even know how to ride a bike. Why did you go on a bike? If you wouldn't have gone on a bike, you wouldn't have fallen down. Blah, 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 blah. You go and help the person. Yeah? And you have compassion. You're not saying you deserve to be hurt because you were so stupid to go on a bike and you don't know how to ride a bike. Yeah? You see, actually, I think it's a really good thing that we don't know what the victims have done in the past. Because otherwise we wouldn't even have compassion for the victims. And we would really go like this, they deserve it. All the people that you're angry at now, and you start to see them as victims, does it create compassion? Not really, is it? So you don't have to feel bad about this, that we don't have compassion for these people. We're just not realized enough. And also again, don't look so much out when we talk about karma. Look inside. What am I doing? In how many of my actions do I think about the happiness of others? Almost none. And unfortunately, your children are not enough, because there is attachment involved in there. Yeah? So we're talking about the happiness, kind of, a neutral wish for happiness for somebody, that you have no self-interest. Then it creates positive impacts. And we must have created a lot of positive karma, otherwise we would not be sitting here. Do you want a chair, a table here? Like, a case that you... Yeah, but you're comfortable like this? Yeah. Otherwise we can find you something like this, No, she doesn't want it, then it's fine, but you just wanted to check. So that she's comfortable with that. And not necessarily a negative action makes you unhappy. It can make you very happy when you're not aware of the consequences. Yeah? And this is it. When the negative emotions are very strong, we forget about the consequences. So this is why I'm saying, if you have children and they're still small, please don't punish them, but show them consequences of their behavior. That is what they need to learn. And if you do want to give them a punishment, see, punishment is a good thing. It's for us to learn and to grow up. So when you want to give them a punishment, I think it would be, instead of taking something away from them, give them something to do, to repay. And then they make up for it. Because if you take something away, they have no opportunity to make up for it. But if you tell them, okay, now this you have done, thing is broken or whatever, in order to make up for it, you have to wash the dishes for 2 days. And then the kid has a result because the dishes are clean. Yeah? And so also, but karma is not a punishment. If you are mature, because there is also what makes our nature, I thought it was mature, but it says nature. See, if we are mature enough and something unpleasant comes back and we say, negative karma from the past ripening, we can call it punishment, it doesn't matter. But then we see I can make up for it now and be really careful not to create more causes for the future. If we don't understand law of cause and effect, if we don't understand that most of the time what is happening to me when somebody else harms me is coming from the past life, and I can't see it, then I start to get angry, and maybe I do the same thing to somebody else. You see, suffering is true when we are mature and we understand why we suffer. It creates compassion and an end of suffering. When we don't see the cause why we are suffering, it creates anger and more suffering. When suffering doesn't understand where it comes from and doesn't know what to do with itself, it turns into violence and hatred. So all these crazy people who go and shoot others just like this night in Zurich, somebody with a knife, pom, 2 people, 1 o'clock in the morning. In Zurich, in Switzerland. Oh, it's in Switzerland, you don't have to worry. Isn't it? It's like, this is also how we are, Here, in Afghanistan, oh yeah, it happens every day. In Switzerland, I'm from there, I go like, hey, this is Switzerland. Why does it happen in Switzerland? It's not Israel. See, this is how instinctively we react. When I have self-interest, because Switzerland is my country, I'm kind of shocked. When it's Israel, I'm also shocked because I know Israel. When some friends of mine read that it happened in Israel, they say, well, it happens every day. So, when we hear a bomb in Afghanistan, the whole thing in Germany, 2 people died. In Afghanistan, almost every week, 20, 30, 40 people die in a bomb attack. Do we react in the same way? Is it in the news in the same way? Do we have people discussing it in the same way? No. Because it has become normal. Yeah. So karma it has to do, it's created when there's a lot of self-interest. So we go to the list, because I really want to finish at 11 o'clock today. And it's on page 7. So it's a law, okay? And not a law that is made by man, because the laws made by man, you go and kill somebody, then sometimes you get a medal, and sometimes you go to prison. So, but it's killing. So this is why the karma also is not just the act, it is what is standing behind it. So destructive or negative karma or unskillful karma results in suffering. Like suffering, you would not choose to get that. Yeah? It can be very gross suffering, pain, body, mind. It can be a lot of things, or it can be subtle suffering to make you anxious. You don't know why you're anxious. Makes you depressed. You don't know why you're depressed. That is also one thing. An immediate thing is our way of thinking. Yeah? And another thing is like ripening of negative imprints from the past, of having been violent, making the other people afraid. Okay, karma is definite. Do you see where I am in the text, okay? Meaning, I think positive and negative works the best still, although it's kind of really black and white. But at the moment we have to be black and white, then we become more open with the whole thing. Positive karma, positive actions. The name karma means action. So positive action results in suffering. That's definite. In happiness. That is definite. Negative action results in suffering. That is definite. Then what you make of it, that again you have a choice. But what ripens, what comes, you don't have a choice. Another one of these factors is what you have not created, you cannot experience. So you can let go of your fears and hopes. Doesn't mean you become hopeless. But you know, hoping and wishing for something that we don't create the cause is stupid. If I hope for a nice garden, but I'm too lazy to plant seeds and to water it, that is stupid. And I start complaining about it. Oh, my garden, nothing grows. Somebody comes and says, well, did you plant some seeds? I know why. I water it and the sun is shining. These are the conditions, the water and the seed, the water and the sun. But if there's no seed, there's nothing, an action from the past, there will be no garden, no happiness and no suffering. Yeah? Karma increases. So out of a very small action, you can get a big result. Same as one little seed in the apple creates a huge apple tree, if it has the right conditions and you let it ripen over time, makes many, many more apples with many, many, many more seeds. You don't have one plant. One plant comes from one seed, right? But you don't have one plant who only makes one seed. This is this kind of principle. They always make more seeds. So be very happy about your positive actions, even when they're small, because they also increase. And start to be very careful about your negative actions, because they also increase. Karma is never lost by itself. Like natural seeds, they can survive hundreds of years sometimes. They find like very old seeds. But at one point also they don't give plants anymore. But because karmic imprints or karmic seeds are mental, this is why they're never lost unless you apply an antidote. And about this we talk about this evening. How to destroy negative karmic seeds that have not ripened yet. There's a way. We can also destroy positive seeds when we give something and the person exploits us or is nasty to us or whatever, then we regret having given something. Then we destroy positive seeds. Yeah? And then we also, when that happens, we see why we are giving. That by giving, I'm manipulating people being kind to me. So we learn to give just for the sake of giving. Yeah? When people say karma is kind of calculating and manipulating, well, we do it all the time anyway. We're just not conscious of it. So here we start to manipulate in a positive way. Not other people, but my future. So, but it's not just the action. Now that one is very important. For the action to be complete, you need an intention. And the problem with the intention is that people think it's a conscious intention. The intention very often is not conscious because we're not aware. If you would be aware, you would know why you are kind to this person now. Because you want to be, well, you want to be loved by this person, or you want something back, or like this. If we would be conscious. Not a conscious thought, now I'm going to be nice to this person so the person is nice to me. This is all down here. The habits, the patterns, the pulls, the urges. We don't need words anymore. It's called shepa. When you know you shouldn't bite the hook, Pema Chödrön calls it. Have you ever gone into the same situation and you know the outcome from the beginning, that the outcome is not good, and you do it again and again and again and again, because the urge is there. The intention to do the action is there, and the urge or the pull or the push to do the action is too strong for our little bit of awareness to think, be aware of the future. And so Pema Chödrön calls it biting the hook. The fish with the fish, And let's say we've always been released, kind of, from the hook. But every time we only see the worm. We forget about the hook, we forget about the future, or we don't care about the future. We don't care about consequences. And the worm looks so nice, and we bite it. And then maybe we go, okay. See, if you stop after this habitual action, and you go, hey guy, me. So where is the happiness now that was promised in this worm? It has turned into suffering. Do I really want to bite the next worm? And then slowly, the shenpa, the pushing or the urge becomes smaller, and your awareness to say, no thank you, becomes stronger. That's big work. It needs a long time. And the more of these karmic pushing imprints we have from not understanding what's going on and blaming somebody else for making us unhappy, the stronger the urge. You see, not following these urges is like you itch and you stop scratching. So going to a Vipassana retreat, where there is no good food, like in India, where there is no good food, where there is terrible conditions, lots of mosquitoes, it's very hot, 500 people in the room, everybody burping, farting, whatever, you sit long hours, nobody out of compassion says, if you need to lie down, go lie down. You have a half an hour talk every day, I think, with a voice which is not very pleasant, but says very wise things, yeah? And, this is seeing how weak we are, and also seeing how many itches we have, how much we need to be comfortable and happy. So it's very painful to restrain from doing these negative things or, acting out of attachment and just watching the itch. But as you are watching the itch, the wound is healing, your desire decreases and decreases and decreases. And I can see it with myself. I used to really love meat, and I still think I like meat. But since, the longer I have a period where I don't eat meat, the less I want it. Yeah. Music. I love music, like also opera and classical music, the whole range actually, except for heavy metal. I was surrounded by music the whole day, because I could when I was working in the kitchen and the restaurant. In the car, the moment I would go in the car, music on the room, music. I would never have imagined I could be living happily without music. I don't need it anymore. But it took like 10, 15 years until the urge to turn it on is gone. If I hear it, I'm happy. I'm not going like this, If I hear it, I'm happy. So this is why you stop scratching, following these urges. At the beginning, it's very, very painful. With time, they subside. They don't bother you anymore. This is what Buddhism can give you. Freedom from these habitual patterns that you know from the beginning, they're no good. Yeah? And then, being able to say no and say, no, I'm not going to buy this whatever piece of meat because I love animals. I want to be kind to them. I don't want to eat them. It makes me very happy. Not proud looking at others when they eat me, but just me. I'm not contributing in that anymore. I don't have to contribute in that anymore. Now I'm going with the milk. This is already, because I see the cow milk there. In my room I have oat milk in there. It's like, well, I could take, anyway, there's too much of it. All these excuses. There's too much of the cow milk, they will throw it away, blah, blah. And then, no, this morning, no, when your milk is finished, you take the soy milk over there. It's difficult, and we have to start with these little things. Otherwise, the big things we'll never be able to do. If we don't pay attention on our small negative actions, we will do also the big ones. If we pay attention to the small ones, we don't do the big ones. Okay? So karma is never lost. So for an action to be completely needed intention. And the intention is the pattern, is the urge. That is the intention. Not the thought, I want to harm Kume. Not that one. But underneath here, I don't like him, I'm not going to be kind to him and all this. If it would be here, we wouldn't do it. Because we would see how ridiculous this is. But these are impulses, reflexes that we have learned. Habits, basically. You need to do